Hi everyone. Today we're going to be making a very fun, light, and sweet treat for the 4th of July holiday. All you'll need is a box of white cake mix, Cool Whip, blueberries, and strawberries, and of course the 3 eggs and a half cup of vegetable oil for the cake mix. Otherwise, this is all you need. It's super simple and fun to make. So let's get started. Okay, for this cake mix, I have the Betty Crocker Super Moist White Cake Mix. On the back, it has a few different instructions. Now, I've made this dessert in the past as a sheet cake, and it turns out just as fun, beautiful, and tasty. But for the event that I'm going to tonight, I'm going to be making the cupcakes. So we're going to use 3 large eggs, 3/4 cup water, half a cup of vegetable oil, and it should make 22 cupcakes. Now you can use a mixer, but I'm just going to mix by hand for about 2 minutes. It says to beat vigorously. And then we'll start pouring our cake into the cupcakes. I've already got my oven preheating at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and dump in our cake mix. Then our water. Oil. And our 3 large eggs. Okay, she's looking really good. So I'm going to go ahead and start popping these into our little cupcake tins. Okay, now we have all of our baking cups laid out. I'm going to take this batter and spoon a little bit in to each baking cup. I'm going to use this little 4th cup measuring cup. Just take a little bit of the batter and drop it in. Filling them almost halfway full. with this recipe, you can make it the night ahead of time so you're ready to go. But fun story, or not so fun, we had a pretty big storm come through last night. It was really quick, it didn't last long, but it knocked some limbs down and the power went out around 6 and didn't come back on until 3 in the morning. We're headed to our little cookout at 5 and it is now, oh, the clocks are off. It is now probably around 1:30 in the afternoon. So the good thing about these are they're quick, they're easy, and you can even do it day of if you're in a pinch. Let's get this other tray. Again, using our 4th cup. And then seeing if any need a little bit extra. I'm sure there's an easier way to add batter to cupcake tins. So if you have a better way, let me know. Okay, these are ready to go in the oven. And while those are in the oven, we're going to go ahead and get our toppings ready. Okay. These are going in for about 13 minutes. Okay, and while those are baking, I have my strawberries and blueberries. We're just going to get them washed and ready to go because this is going to be our decoration. If you're doing a sheet cake, it's a lot easier. You're just going to make an American flag. So you'll take the cake out of the oven. Once it's cooled completely, you'll put the Cool Whip on and then make an American flag using blueberries as your stars and strawberries for stripes. But since we're doing cupcakes, we're going to still create the shape of the flag, but it's going to look just a little different. So I'm actually going to cut up really finely one of the boxes of strawberries and sprinkle them on top of the cupcake, and with the blueberries I'll put them in little circles. Now you can get creative and do whatever type of designs, but that's what's going to be on top. And we're also going to take 1 package of strawberries and I'm going to blend them up into a puree, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to take out the core of each cupcake and put in strawberry puree before we decorate. So I am just going to blend the strawberries as is because I like more of a tart center, but you can always add a couple of teaspoons or tablespoons of sugar depending on how sweet you want your puree. But we already have the Cool Whip and the cake, so it's already sweet, and I think this provides just that nice little tart bite. So I'm going to go ahead and blend these up. I have 2 things of blueberries, but you probably only need 1, and you probably only need 2 boxes of strawberries, but I bought extra just in case. So here we go. We're going to cut up our little strawberries into just tiny bite-sized pieces, just like that. So we're going to go ahead and chop through our strawberry and then go the opposite way. And there we go. Okay, our cupcakes are out of the oven, so I'm going to move them to a cooling rack to let them start cooling down. Okay, here they are, cooling down, and we're going to keep them in this shape. We're going to put the stars right here in this corner with 4 cupcakes, and then we're going to do red strawberries, plain Cool Whip, another row of red, another row of white, and create that look of the American flag. Now, the other thing that we're going to do is we're going to take out the center of each cupcake and fill it with our strawberry puree. Okay, so I have some more strawberries washed and chopped. Just gonna pop it in the blender and get them going. Again, now's the time. You want to add some sugar, go ahead, and you can just kind of sample it to make sure you're getting the right consistency and taste that you're looking for. Okay, and there you go. That's what we're looking for. Now, what you can do with this is put it in a piping bag or like a condiment container or squeezer. I don't have one available right now, so the simplest thing you can do is just spoon it or pour it into the cupcakes. You really don't need much. We probably won't even use this much. This is just 1 box of strawberries. Okay, now I'm going to show you how we're going to make room for the puree in each of the cupcakes with this little apple decor. We're going to press into the center, but not go all the way down, just a little bit. And you may have to twist back and forth. Then you're going to pull right back out. There we go. We're going to save this, okay? And then we're going to put in our puree right here. It's okay if you make a little bit of a mess because we're going to cover the top of each cupcake with Cool Whip, leaving just a little bit of room to put our top back on. So we're just going to release like that and press the top back down onto the cupcake. Just like that. And it's ready to frost with Cool Whip. Let's do another one. Pressing in and twisting a bit. Bringing that out. Spooning in our puree. Does not take much. And plopping our piece back on top. Just like that. And there you have it. You can also do whatever flavor puree you want. So if you wanted to blend up some of the blueberry, that's a great option too. Let me know what kind of 4th of July treats y'all make. I found this recipe when I was a little girl, and we've been making it as a family for a while now. Usually it's the sheet cake, but just last year I decided to make them as cupcakes and do the puree. It's just a lot easier than cutting up a sheet cake at a party, especially if you're not sure how much room you're going to have. if you wanted to put more down through the entire cupcake, you totally could. You get to make them yours. And these cupcakes cool down really quick if you get them on a cooling rack right away out of the muffin tins, so that you can, within an hour easily, you're frosting or spreading Cool Whip rather on top. And this made 22, which is a miracle because usually when I make cupcakes, I don't wind up with the full amount that the box says because I tend to sample some of the batter. Guilty, guilty. Okay, just a few more here. Yeah, again, as you can see, we probably used half of the puree, so you could get away with a box and a half of the strawberries, I think. And the blueberries, I know I won't even use a full box. Now, if I were doing the sheet cake, I might be more likely to, just because I'd put at least 50 blueberries on there. The other thing you can do with the sheet cake to make it layered is you could do puree, or you could bake 2 sheet cakes, or even just make a smaller cake. And you would put the Cool Whip down and blueberries and strawberries, more cake, Cool Whip, and then do the fleck on top. So lots of fun ways to make this festive. I also find that, when storing these in the fridge, having the puree just kind of helps in case, they were to dry out. Now these are the extra moist, and I know that's not a favorite word for people. So I think that they do really well, but the puree just adds that little bit of texture to keep it light. There we go. 2 more. Here we go. Spooning it in. Again, there are ways to make this easier on yourself. But this is proof that this works too. And of course, if you don't have an Apple little tool decor, you can just take a knife or a spoon and cut the little hole in the cupcake yourself. This just makes it a little bit easier and smoother, for me anyway, because I tend to make a mess. But you could definitely cut your own center out. Okay. That's the last one. There we go. Okay. Let me show you. We had this much puree left, so you could definitely do it. Half a box of strawberries. And here are all of our cupcakes. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to spread Cool Whip on top and then decorate. Be right back. Okay, time to put our Cool Whip strawberries and blueberries on. I have those 2 extra right here, so I'm going to use those as the testers. Okay, we have our Cool Whip. This has been in the refrigerator, so it is not frozen. So we are going to take our Cool Whip, put it on our cupcake, just spread it around. You do not need much. Spreading it around. Now, if you want to get fancy and pipe this on, that is all you. I'm just going to keep it simple. Then for the blueberries, I'm going to go ahead and make a circle just around. And this is probably easier without the gloves. Trying to find one more big one. There we go, to kind of close that circle. Okay, there you go. There's the blueberry. Okay, let's do a strawberry one. Gently spreading the Cool Whip out over the top. Okay, there we go. And then we are going to take our strawberries. Sprinkle a spoonful on top. It's okay if it gets a little messy. Just kind of filling in any gaps. So let's go ahead and frost. I'm going to do the star part of the flag first, so that's just going to be these 4 in the corner. I have washed my hands. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of our Cool Whip, put it on, and spread it nicely over the cupcake. I am not the best at this, so I'm sure there's better ways to use Cool Whip, frost it, but there we go. Now we're going to take our blueberries and make them in a circle. I'm going to keep them rather tight because I don't want them sliding off the cupcake. We're going to get these into the fridge as quickly as possible, but I still want it to maintain some integrity. Kind of hunting for a nice one. There we go. And one in the center. So there's one. We're going to put him right here. Okay, we've got our stars on the flag done. Now we're going to do our first row of red with our strawberries. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start our strawberry. Spreading our Cool Whip around. And then we're going to spoon on some of our strawberries. You just want to try and fill the area, pressing them in, then adding some to some of the bare areas. There we go. And there you have it. There's that one. And last but not least, the last row here. There we go. And finally, last cupcake. I can get them a little closer together here. Just so you can see. Our little American flag. Happy 4th of July.